Good evening, everyone. This is your evening news recap. Today is Monday. It is April 7th. Hope all of you guys are having a wonderful day. Today is the 21st episode of the evening news recap. Your mostly nightly podcast. I try and get one out every night. I've missed a few nights, but not too many. Not too many. I hope all of you guys are having a wonderful day. My day's been alright so far. Um, we've got some news to cover, so let's get started. So we have a few things to cover today. A Trump administration segment, a trade war segment. But we're gonna open up with the Supreme Court moving to allow the continuation of deportations under the Alien Enemies Act. On Monday, the Supreme Court allowed the Trump administration to restart deportations of migrants claiming members of the Venezuelan gang using seldom invoking of the Wartime Authority Act. President Trump will now be able to use the Alien Enemies Act of 1789 to swiftly remove any alleged gang members from the Tren Aragón gang without a hearing. This is an unsigned decision, but it did pass in a vote of 5-4. The Supreme Court said detainees who are challenging their removal are confined in Texas. The court said in a ruling, as a result, the government will likely succeed on merits of this action. It added that going forward, detainees are subject to law should receive a notification if they face any removal under the Alien Enemies Act. All right. I honestly don't really know what to say to this. It's yet to be signed, which is a good thing. Hopefully it isn't signed. But if it is this really the path that we're going to go down? I mean, the United States destined to be for fascism and concentration camps throughout the country, and I know we put the Japanese in camps during World War II. But this is arguably worse than that to some degree. I'm not going to ignore the fact that the Japanese were treated fairly. I am very much so educated on the subject, but this very could likely be way worse. World War II was only 85 years ago, and this is something that we're doing. This is the path that we are taking. Keep in mind, this is the same country whose troops ran onto, why am I forgetting the name? Why am I forgetting the name of the beach? This looks so bad on me. This looks so bad on me. I promise I am not this uneducated. I swear. Normandy Beach. Okay. The same nation who had troops storm onto Normandy Beach during World War II on D-Day, one of the biggest Allied invasions during World War II. This is the same nation that fought against Germany, the same nation that went and cleared through the concentration camps, although they did leave many homosexual people and members of the LGBTQ community, but that is not the point I'm trying to make. The United States, is this really what we're destined to be? Are we really destined to die out as a nation that falls to fascism? As a nation that falls to Nazism? Is this really what we're going to let happen? As a historian, I am genuinely, absolutely terrified. This has not been signed, but we are at the teetering point, and if it is signed, I might shit my pants. And I don't say that jokingly, I say that out of fear. That's not what I planned to say, but I think that's a good representation of what I mean by that statement. moving on to the Trump administration segment, we have two things to cover today. Trump has bombed civilians in Yemen, and he posted about it. And Trump is planning a military parade on his birthday. Oh God. Okay. Trump posted video footage on his Truth Social account of bombing Houthi rebels, but apparently that wasn't the case. Trump said in a post these Houthis gathered for instructions on an attack. He said, "Oops, there will be no attack by these Houthis. They will never sink our ships again." Media working with the Houthi group came out and said the airstrike killed one civilian and injured four others, saying one citizen was killed and four others wounded in an American attack against a neighborhood by the solar energy site in Hafsin, in the west of the city. A Houthi spokesman denied the gathering being linked to them and said, "Does the U.S. take such pride in an act? This was a tribal gathering and had nothing to do with your ships." He added, "You failed to hit any military targets, so you bombed civilians instead. We promise you the greatest defeat you will ever suffer. These attacks have cost taxpayers nearly $1 billion. Can we just stay out of the Middle East, bro? Like, why must every president go out there and commit war crimes in the Middle East? I understand that we're the global police, and we're at least, and we're supposed to defend freedom and, fight for the safety of everyone. And yeah, that's great. That's great and all. But we pretty frequently do more harm than good in the Middle East. And that's seen with all presidents. Of course, the Obama administration bombed children's hospitals and many other hospitals throughout the Middle East. And the Trump administration has done terrible things in the Middle East. And even the Biden administration didn't do the greatest things in the Middle East. And obviously, their pullout of Afghanistan was very flawed in some regards. But I mean, why does it have to be every president? What is the Middle East actively doing wrong? Because a majority of these so-called terrorist groups aren't actually terrorist groups, and they're just independence movements by people who don't like the government that is leading them. And if I'm not mistaken, that was the whole point of the creation of the United States of America, was it not? Is that the entire basis of our nation's history? Shouldn't we be fighting on the side of Gaza instead of fighting against them? Shouldn't we be fighting on the side of the Houthis instead of fighting against them? Because these are just rebel groups that want independence from their nation. But the United States government will never tell you that. They'll tell you they're terrorists. They're not. They just want their government to be ran in a way that supports them. This is a fact, by the way. If you don't agree with that statement, this is information you can look into and learn. You can see the interviews that these people are in. I mean, we're going and bombing civilians. How is that in any way okay? There's Geneva conventions against that. I am like 99.9% sure about that. And even if there isn't, I guarantee you there's a list of Geneva conventions we don't even know about it, and it's very likely on there. So, I mean, how are we celebrating this, for one? How is Trump celebrating this? And how are we allowing this as a nation? That's what I want to know. And I could go into all the Israel stuff. I'm not a fan of Israel. Jewish people are cool. Support and believe in whatever religion you want to believe in. But I'm not a fan of Israel at all. Yeah. Moving on. Trump is planning a military parade on his birthday, which would cost taxpayers almost $100 million. Trump has designated his birthday, June 14th, the 250th anniversary of the U.S. Army, and the Flag Day as the day for the military parade from the Pentagon to the White House. The parade will cost taxpayers $100 million. DC local government has so far said not said anything and seems to be in fear of the Trump administration due to local or threats from the Trump administration of taking over local government. Of course, this is under the Making the District of Columbia Safe and Beautiful executive order that I reported on a few months ago, or not a few months ago. I think that was last week. Days are kind of merging together. It's not looking hot. For those who don't know, this order moves to allow Trump to create his own police force, to allow Trump to get concealed carries more readily available in the DC area, and a bunch of other things involving the DC area that are very terrifying. If you haven't read the order, there's a report on my page somewhere, or if not, you can look it up. It's on the White House website. This is going to be interesting to watch. I could make a lot of comments about this, and I think I'm going to abstain from that one. I'm on enough lists, and I don't want to be put on like 15 more. So we're gonna stay away from that one. Moving on to the final segment, or is this the final? No, we have one more segment after this one. Moving on to the trade war segment, the stock market is plummeting. Cough still not gone. Markets have traded $29 billion in shares of stocks today, surpassing Friday's number of 26.7 billion shares. The Dow drops 0.91%, S&P dropped 0.23%, and Nasdaq rose by 10%. Stocks are suspected to go down again and rose today due to a fake news article that spread about a 90-day tariff pause that was confirmed to be fake. The stock market does still seem to be dropping. I follow a few stocks because I play a stock market game at my school, but there are some stocks that are doing well. Boeing is up 1.66%. Nvidia rose 3.53%, and Amazon has rose 2.9%. That is a dollar sign, not a percentage sign. We're going to fix that one real quick. Okay. A recession is coming. That's obvious. I've just been following the markets out of interest. I personally don't own any stock. And it hasn't looked good for some time. And I don't think it's going to look well anytime soon. Of course, we'll see how it goes. The stock market can always change. But it's always later in the videos. I think it's just because of how much I'm talking, but I'm also still sick, so maybe not. Things are going to change. It's going to get worse. It might get better, but it'll likely remain worse. Yeah, I don't know. I'll never own stocks as someone who wants to be a politician. I feel like I'd rather just stay away from that debacle, and I'd rather not be, claimed as an insider trader, because that's never something I want to do. I think that should be strongly illegal and not allowed. But yeah, I'll probably never own stocks. Maybe when I'm old and done being a politician. But as of now, I see no interest in buying any. Just because, again, don't want to be confused as an insider trader or anything among the sorts. That's my statement on that, I guess. Now, moving on to the next part, Trump has threatened a 50% tariff on China. Holy. Trump has threatened an additional 50% tariff on goods imported from China. Trump was asked if he considered pausing the tariffs to negotiate deals. As he said, we are not looking for that. Many countries are coming to negotiate deals with us, and there are going to be fair deals. Trump threatened a 50% tariff on China if they did not retract their tariffs they announced on Thursday. If enacted, this will lead to a 104% tax on China. They are never getting a TikTok deal done, bro. 104% of tariffs on a country is insane. I mean, we are not affording jack shit in a few months, especially with all the stuff we get from Asia. I mean, holy. I mean, like, a shirt like the one I'm wearing now, you go to the store, it's made in China, and it's like $15. Like, a shirt's gonna be $30? Maybe even more because it's 104%? I don't know about that one, guys. I think I'm not a fan of this one. Don't think I'm a fan of that one. Again, this isn't official. But if it does happen, holy. Of course, I'm coughing, when I'm on the last segment, and it's the longest one. But, let's get started. Kilmar Bregro Garcia. Chief Justice stops Trump administration from returning an accidentally deported man. The Supreme Court on Monday has frozen the deadline for the Trump administration to return Kilmar Abrego Garcia from El Salvador prisons. He was deported last month on accident, and the Trump administration previously refused to bring them back until they were ordered to. Unfortunately, that order has been frozen and is now no longer in place. Chief Justice John Roberts has ordered an administrative stay, freezing the Trump administration from their deadline. He asked for a statement from his attorneys, and he was told Abrego Garcia has never been charged with a crime in any country. He is not wanted by the government of El Salvador. He sits in a foreign prison solely at the behest of the United States and as the product of the Kafaga estate mistake. Holy cough. This cough is starting to get on my nerves. It is bad. I'm sorry, guys. It is allergy season. Oh boy, I said I'd have a lot to say about this, so let's get started, shall we? The Trump administration has deported a man who they claim is an alleged gang member with no proof or morals to stand on. Mr. Garcia sits in a prison on foreign soil, a prison commonly used for tariffs. The Trump administration themselves has admitted this is a mistake, yet they refuse to bring him back because he's still allegedly a gang member, even though they said it's a mistake. They have no proof. This man has done nothing wrong, yet he sits in jail while the Trump administration bitches and moans about the idea of returning him to his family when they fucked up in the first place. This man remains in his jail cell while he has done nothing wrong, and the Trump administration has taken him from many of his friends and family for doing nothing. Does that sound familiar? Because it should. This is the same exact thing we did to Japanese people in World War II. And I have reiterated that time and time and time and time again. Because it's true. Japanese people were taken from their homes, taken from where they live, no connection to friends or family, no one knew where they were going. And they ended up in camps. I am very educated on this subject. Don't know if you can tell. There is a local transportation center in my area. I want to do a report on this soon. I think I will this summer when I can actually go visit it, as it's the state fairgrounds. But with that being said, this isn't about Mr. Garcia being a gang member. This is about him not being white. It is blatant racism. And for what? I'll tell you. Because they believe anyone from Central or South America is a terrible person. They don't care who you are. They just make assumptions based on the color of your skin. Racism is a problem. And that is something that conservatism supports and leads to fascism. And you know what the basis of the Republican Party is? Conservatism. Because it's the movement that does not allow progression in society. Who would have known? Thank you everyone for watching this video. Yeah, uh, not much to say at the end of the here. There's a lot to process from this news. I'm about to cough again, hold on. There's a lot of process from this news. There's a lot that could happen. There's a lot of things that will happen. We'll see how it goes. Yeah, if you're on Substack, please consider pledging your support. All of the funds go to me, helps me pay my bills in college, and it'll help me buy the things I need in college. Paid subscriptions begin on April 20th or around then. If not, you can always subscribe for free on YouTube. Drop a subscription, drop a whatever. Almost hitting 70 subscribers on YouTube, which is pretty cool. Yeah. With that being said, thank you everyone. Have a wonderful evening. I will see you all tomorrow with another news recap episode. Later, guys.